Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party and invited everyone that you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me. And the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend. We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. Oh, that makes you know. He can't fucking breathe. So that makes you know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Ben Bronco. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. If it's Thursday, tu la mujer. To la mujer, to la mujer. We're going back to Rio, baby. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, a show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Uncle Henach. We have got past 300. We survived, ladies and gentlemen. We made it. We are now to the first official pay-per-view post UFC 300. We are in the post 300 era. but we'll get into all that here in just a little bit. First and foremost, how you doing over there, gentlemen?
Lovely to be back.
I'm doing pretty fucking good. Glad to be back again, just like TJ said. Glad we get some better fights than last week, too.
Yes, sir. So, as aforementioned, we are going with the UFC back down to Rio de Janeiro for UFC 301 this weekend, but we have got so much more than that to cover. So first and foremost, as we like to start things off around here, a little bit of news and recent events, fight cancellations, fight confirmations, rumors that have been swirling have been confirmed, all the relevant information that has shaken down the MMA tree since we saw you wonderful folks last. So starting off this week, we've got one that actually ties back a couple weeks ago here for good reason here. We got confirmation this week that Igor Severino, infamous now for the $50,000 bite mark on the inside of a gentleman's arm, is not going to be facing just the initial 6-month suspension from the Nevada State Athletic Commission. No, no, no. NSAC has denied the 6-month suggested punishment, and they're going to put on a full athletic state commission or state athletic commission trial essentially to determine just how extensive his punishment will be, but they agreed unanimously 6 months is not appropriate. This gentleman needs to be made an example of. So it's nice to see Nevada taking the fucking charge for a change, because it's usually California that makes shit like this happen. So it's nice to see Nevada stepping up and actually putting some fucking pressure on people who are fucking up and making it known that we're not going to let shit slide anymore. Just because you're in Vegas don't mean what happens here stays here anymore. And I'm fucking glad for it. That dude got cut while the broadcast was still happening. He was cut from the UFC, and that was the appropriate response. But I agree, he definitely needs something more than just a 6-month slap on the wrist on top of that as well. So good on NSAC to actually put their sack on the fucking table and do the right fucking thing here. Speaking of putting your sack on the table, in this case, it's putting it on the table and then dropping your fucking homework on it. We got word that despite the incredible fucking performance, just what was it, last weekend? Ryan Garcia has popped hot not once, but twice, for not one, but 2 different metabolites, for a April 19th pre-fight test and an April 20th post-fight test. 2 different tests, 2 different samples, 2 different sets of confirmations from metabolites in both samples confirmed. Obviously, Ryan Garcia has come out and vehemently denied this, but at this point, this isn't just a fluke or a coincidence, something that might just be in a supplement. This is a big fucking deal. And one of them that they got him for was Ostarine, which is almost always in this situation used to help hide or aid steroids. Turns out, not only did they get him for Ostarine, but they got him for 2 different steroid metabolites as well as Ostarine. There are still, to be fair, some 1 in a million fucking ricochet grassy knoll kind of fucking shots that could genuinely make this an absolution of Ryan Garcia. There are very few, but there are a couple of situations where this could all still be a genuine mistake, but those options are so few and far between at this point. He's gonna need a fucking miracle to get him clear to this, because this is going to strip all that fucking good hype that he had coming out of that fight after making everybody look stupid for doubting him and putting on the whole fucking crazy routine. If it turns out that that might have actually just been a side effect of him coming off of a cycle, that young man's career is pretty much fucking toast. So we'll see how this one plays out. But this is a situation where this is VADA, the Volunteer Anti-Doping Agency, handling this. This is one of the largest and most accredited fucking drug testing companies in the fucking world. So this isn't like somebody who's going to just bump something in a lab and oops, some results. If these guys tell you we got 2 tests, 2 different fucking metabolites plus Ostarine in both samples pre and post fight, you're probably fucked, Chuck. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. But at this point, the doors are fucking closing, the walls are starting to fucking lean in here. The ways out of coming out of this clean are starting to narrow real fucking quick. So we will definitely be keeping an eye on this because Ryan Garcia is absolutely one of the hottest fucking names in boxing right now. And if it turns out that he cheddar bobbed himself on the biggest fucking night of his entire career, he's never gonna live that shit down either. So we'll see how this one shakes loose as it comes out a little bit more as well. Speaking of fucking up, going back to UFC 300, we got confirmation this week again from Nevada State Athletic Commission, again on their fucking game this week, and I'm fucking here for it. Arman Sarukian and Diego Lopez, both. Arman Sarukian for the little fucking scuffle that he got in with the fan that gave him the finger as he was walking out during UFC 300. Nevada State Athletic Commission is going to hold him to it. They already fined him $5,000 that they held from his initial purse. They're also now going to put him into the investigation process, similar to the gentleman we talked about earlier here. Arman is not going to get away with trying to start a fight with a fan on his walkout here. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one shakes out.
That actually came to fruition already.
Did they finish that today?
It was 32,000 or 39,000 or something like that they fucking fined him. So it wasn't a fucking drop in the hat. It was a big fucking chunk of his purse.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, the dude tried to start a genuine fight with a fan who gave him the finger on the walkout on his way to the biggest fight of his fucking career. You can't just let that shit fucking slide either. So I'm glad that Nevada is letting them fucking hang this week and holding people accountable for their bullshit.
Yeah.
And then the other one, Diego Lopez, apparently after his fight, went backstage and got in a fucking fight with one of the other fight's coaches backstage and had to be separated by security. And it was apparently serious enough that he as well is getting handled by Nevada State Athletic Commission. They held $2,000 initially from his paycheck from UFC 300, but then now they're again going to put him through the investigation and then figure out what they're going to do with him. They're not going to let him get away with this either. And again, I like Diego Lopez, but if he's fighting fucking coaches backstage, no, son, you can't get away with that shit, especially on a night like UFC fucking 300. You're going to go start shit backstage. Nah, dude, nah, you should fucking know better than that. You're on the highest fucking stage that there is in MMA, on the highest night that there is to perform. You can't be fucking around. So it's nice to see Nevada actually bringing the fucking hammer down and making people fucking hold themselves accountable or be held accountable for their fuckery. I'm here for it. I like to see Nevada finally stepping the fuck up.
Also, there's one other one on that. Who the hell was it that jumped over the cage? During all of that fuckery. Well, I say during the fuckery after his win. We talked about him saying, yeah, he checked, is it okay for me to go over the cage?
Right.
And they gave him the okay. Nevada State Athletic Commission did not think so, and they fined him like 5,000 and some change.
Go figure.
So while they are throwing the nuts down on the table to everyone, some of that shit might be a little overstepping. He didn't start any fights. He just went over the edge of the cage.
Right, just fucked around a little too much, yeah.
Yeah. But I guess if you're trying to rein all these people in, that's one way to do it.
Right, yeah, no shit. I mean, if you're going to hold one accountable for fucking up, you hold everybody accountable for fucking up. So I'm here for it. At this point, it's very well known. And ironically enough, they're expecting Jose Aldo to do that with a win this weekend, which Nevada ain't gonna say shit down in Rio. But when you're in Vegas, you ain't allowed to fucking do that, and it's very well fucking known. And like TJ mentioned, there's word that he even asked or looked towards Dana White and said, "Is this okay?" And someone over in Dana's little circle said, "Let him do it. I'll pay his fine." So I'm kind of anticipating that one being taken care of, but at the same time, I'm glad that Nevada actually slapped the fine down and made everything get held accountable. Whether they're going to take care of that or not, if you're going to fuck around, you're going to find out. So nice to see it evenly smoothed across. One thing we did get last weekend that, like we mentioned, I was sick as shit and slept through the whole fucking thing. I missed it, but history was in fact made last weekend on the UFC broadcast. Mid-broadcast, Joe Martinez lost his voice and was unable to speak, had some illness going on that he was dealing with, apparently was fine for most of the night, but when Karine Silva's match was getting ready to end, literally had no ability to speak. So UFC broadcasting partner and part-time backstage interviewer Charlie Arnold became the first female UFC ever, or excuse me, the first female ever in the UFC to announce a fight. Joe Martinez did come back later on in the evening, said that he is starting to feel better now, but that it just basically came out of nowhere and literally took his ability to speak away for a little while backstage, which was scary, but he has been checked by doctors. Everything is on the up and up, should be good to go now. So glad to see that Joe Martinez is okay, but in a weird way, him not being okay Saturday night turned out to be a piece of history for the UFC. I'm not opposed to a female ring announcer whatsoever. I'm a little disappointed that it was Charlie Arnold when we've got so many other talented ladies like Megan O'Leary or Laura Sanko that have been on the broadcast and, in my opinion, would have made a better situational fucking voice. But Charlie Arnold stepped up in the fucking moment and apparently initially told them no, she didn't want to do it because that's too big of a fucking shoe to step into in the moment. But they apparently insisted and said, please, will you do this? So she did. And I've watched it. She did just fucking fine. Obviously, those are big shoes to fill in the moment. That pressure is fucking unimaginable. So absolute fucking tip of the cap to Charlie Arnold for stepping up in the moment and keeping things rolling for the fucking UFC. Hopefully next time they do that, it's planned and there's a little more thought and effort put into it. But nice to see that everybody on scene in Vegas was fucking team player ready to go when the shit hit the fan in the moment. Good on Charlie for making history. That being said, we do have some fights to go over here. Not a whole lot this week, but there are a couple to go over here. The first one I want to talk about real quick, excuse me, PFL Salt Lake City going down June 21st, getting back towards the fun side of things. Clay Collard versus Mads Burnell is going to be headlining that card. That whole fucking card, I've got to say, I was genuinely skeptical, and I'm still to a certain degree a little skeptical of the PFL merger. I'm not 100% sold on the way they're handling things so far, but what they have gotten out there so far, Bellator is already booking shows, and not just shows, international shows. They're back at it. They're touring the world with the Bellator side of things. PFL's 2024 season is underway, and they've started to bring some of those Bellator fighters into the tournament season. I like some of the matchups that they made. I wish they would have done a little more with what they've got here, but I understand trying to just get back to business as usual to get both sides of the brand back to rolling again and then start to integrate the changes, and they are absolutely doing that. So this card in Salt Lake City getting headlined by Collard versus Burnell is top to bottom one of the best cards that I have seen PFL put on since they initially came out as an organization. The list of fighters that they have between the two organizations under the same roster now, they're starting to actually finally really utilize in a way to show people the vast amount of genuine world-class talent that they have under that giant umbrella over there. And I'm fucking here for it. That card in Salt Lake City is going to be fucking great. It's going to be one for everyone, in my opinion, to watch. So I'm glad to see them really starting to get some fucking steam going and get some great matches on both sides of the house, because there's some Bellator stuff coming up as well. So absolutely fucking top notch, in my opinion. Speaking of that other side, the Bellator card that takes place the next day, June 22nd, Bellator Dublin just got an incredible fucking boost given to it. Not that it fucking needed it. That card is already stacked and ready for the Irish fans to go apeshit. But now they're going to go even more apeshit because one of the quote unquote higher top prospects in the MMA world just signed last week a PFL Bellator contract and will in fact make his debut. Mr. Paul Hughes will be debuting at the Bellator Dublin card. Irish prospect debuting in Dublin against Bobby King. Very agreeable fucking matchup for a guy making his debut. And at home like that, the potential for a huge fucking showing on that card as well. So, like I said, PFL is actually getting their shit a little bit more lined up. They're not ready to fucking compete with the UFC head-to-head by any stretch of the imagination yet, but they are starting to get their ducks in a fucking row, and I'm fucking here for it because any competition is good competition. As they say, rising tide lifts all boats, god damn it, and I'm fucking here for it. On the sad side of that, though, we got word today that Anthony Hernandez, has torn a ligament in his hand and is officially out of his UFC 302 fight next month against Roman Dolidze, which kind of sucks because that fucking matchup that's a great fucking fight in my opinion. And at this point, it's kind of got that John Jones versus Steve A feel. It's hot right now, but in the time it's going to take Fluffy to get the surgery and properly heal and be able to come back, that match isn't going to hold that same fucking steam for that long, in my opinion. So that sucks. That match is essentially, lost to the ether. But what can you do in this situation? Fluffy was training legitimately to take that fight seriously and tore a fucking ligament in his hand. So thoughts are with Fluffy in the fucking recovery. We'll see what they do with the Dolidze because they said that they want to try and keep him on the card, but they're not sure if they're going to be able to in 3 weeks time fucking turnaround. So we'll see what they do there. Couple of announcements here from the BKFC side of things over the week and weekend. First one of the bigger ones in the combat sports world, Conor McGregor has already jumped in the cage, faced off with Mike Perry. The Black Forge Irish Stout that Conor McGregor owns is a sponsor of BKFC. He's been to several different events. He's helped them do some promo shit. Well, he took it a step further this weekend. Conor McGregor has officially become a minority stakeholder and executive board member of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. He will not fight. There is no fight attachment to his contract whatsoever. This is strictly just an ownership situation. Forge Irish Stout is still a sponsor. That is a separate business deal. This is Conor McGregor himself and McGregor Sports Entertainment are literally 49% minority shareholders in BKFC to the opposing side of Triller with the big 51% share. So Conor McGregor is literally a staked owner in BKFC at this point, which is only going to help them grow exponentially from here on out. As if they really needed the help, but this is going to strap rockets to BKFC and genuinely get them more eyes and more dollars rolling through. The other one we got from BKFC this week is a little rough, but it was to be expected. After a round one vicious knockout from Mike Perry, Thiago Alves has officially announced that he is retired from all combat sports. He was essentially retired, still doing some coaching and training prior to the Mike Perry fight. He hadn't competed in a couple of years, was just staying active and doing coaching. But with the Perry fight, he got back in camp and did it properly and then got fucking smoked by Platinum Mike Perry in bare knuckle and realized, you know what? I am in fact done getting hit in the fucking face. I'm going to stick to fucking coaching. There's no reason not to. Y'all be good. I'm out. So absolutely understandable. And I do get that this fight got Thiago off the fucking couch because again, he was training, he was coaching. It wasn't like he was sitting on the fucking couch eating Cheetos. He was still fucking active. And Thiago Alves is one of the best striking coaches in mixed martial arts. So he's a capable motherfucker top to bottom. He just came out and got fucking dealt with. So hats off to Thiago. Go back to coaching and enjoy not getting punched in the face, my dude. Now, the last one here that kind of, excuse me, loosely ties in. We got confirmation directly from the horse's mouth this week that Brian Barberina's last fight was his final fight on the UFC contract that he had. And they have opted not to re-sign him, that they are going to let him go into free agency. And rather than go into free agency, he has decided that this is as good a time as any to just stop doing mixed martial arts. So Brian Barberina has officially exited the UFC and retired from MMA, excuse me, but at the same time, while retiring from MMA, also called for a fight with Mike Perry in BKFC, claiming that he's the only one who will be able to take Mike Perry out. judging on the way that Brian Barberina exited the UFC and how most of his combat sports career went, I don't necessarily agree with that opinion, but as they say, fuck around and find out, Brian. I wouldn't be angry at seeing Bam Bam go over to BKFC. Even if he doesn't get Mike Perry, there's still plenty of fights they can throw him in over there. Fuck, throw him against fucking Rickles. Give him fucking Rickles. Let the caveman and fucking Bam Bam go at it. There's plenty of options over there. So I think Barberina is going to be just fucking fine. He's just not going to be fine in the UFC anymore. So not mad at him going to try and scratch up some fucking dough from BKFC, but I also am not mad at him trying to further pursue MMA. He had a decent career, transition, do some bare knuckle, make some big money, call it a day. Barberina is not one that needs to go try and throw himself into the PFL Tour season or get injected into that fucking machine. Just, I think this is the right path for him. So carry on, my wayward son. In a little bit stranger side of things here, it's kind of had mixed reactions from the combat sports world, understandably, but we got word this week that the boxing match coming up between 58-year-old Mike Tyson and Voldemort has officially been sanctioned as a pro bout. This is not going to be an exhibition match. This is going to be a professional bout that will count on both of their professional records. The other side of that is that because this is a professional bout and not an exhibition like Mike Tyson's previous matches have been, there is no restraint clause in the contract. That also means that Mike Tyson is allowed to and encouraged to knock that motherfucker out cold. I haven't looked myself yet, but I have to imagine that announcement might be the single biggest piece of Viagra that the bookies in Vegas have ever fucking seen. Because at this point, you'd be a fool not to bet your house on Iron Mike. Look at any of the videos out there and tell me that that man is not training to actually knock somebody the fuck out. This isn't Iron Mike training to go 8 rounds with Roy Jones Jr. and show that they both still have it. This is Iron Mike who's had the fucking leash taken off. This is old school, crazy, coked out 80s Mike back in the fucking gym again. And that's exactly what I want to see, because I'm done with this circus. And I'm hope that this is the old Yeller moment that we've all been crossing our fucking fingers for. Now that the leash has been taken off, let him go full fucking rabbit. I don't care if we get 2 ear bites in this fucking fight. Don't stop it. Let it go. Let it fucking go. Somebody needs to learn, and they haven't yet. So let Uncle Mike do the teaching this time. Please just stay the fuck out of his way and let Uncle Mike do the teaching this time. On a lighter note, though, we got confirmation this week. Beneil Dariush is finally getting some well-deserved recognition. He is officially the 2024 Forrest Griffin Community Award winner for the UFC. If you don't know about Beneil Dariush outside of his incredible fucking resume as a mixed martial artist, he is one of the single biggest givers that are in all of combat sports. He genuinely takes more time out of his life to do for and to help others than he does to take care of himself. It's literally out there in spades for you to find. And the fact that the UFC is giving him the award to officially acknowledge him for that is awesome, because Forrest Griffin obviously as well is one of those dudes who is constantly giving back, and it is fucking awesome to see. Beneil is right there on fucking par with him and has been for a long time, in my opinion. So to see the UFC officially give him this acknowledgement, which will mean a lot of money to all the causes that he works with as well, very, very fucking cool, in my opinion. We do have one last minute fight that they did just confirm about an hour ago here. As far as I can tell, it is the first and only, as of right now, confirmed fight for July 27th, UFC Manchester, England. And the boys coming home. Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze is the first official card to UFC Manchester, or excuse me, the first official fight on the UFC Manchester card. And that is absolutely the right way to start that fucking process. There are a lot of fights that a lot of people have anticipated. There's a lot of rumors because there are a lot of English fighters that obviously want to get on this fucking card really bad, understandably. But opening that door, starting out with Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze in Manchester, definitely the right way to do that, in my opinion. Unfortunately, the last thing I've got this week is horrible fucking news that nobody ever wants to hear, but it deserves to be talked about. We got confirmation this week that Francis Ngannou has unfortunately lost his 15-month-old son. This is obviously not anything that anyone ever wants to fucking hear about, but if there is any kind of a silver lining to a tragedy like this, I have to say that I don't remember, honestly, the last time that I saw the entirety of the combat sports world from any fucking discipline, from any fucking organization, the world over, stopped and immediately fucking started to grieve with Francis Ngannou when this fucking news came out. You saw that man break through words and the world fucking felt it with him. So obviously fucking sad times, and our fucking thoughts are with Francis, but Jesus fuck, this is not what a man in his fucking situation of anyone, but particularly somebody going through it like he's been going through it lately. That's fucking rough, man. So obviously keep Francis in your fucking thoughts. If that's your kind of thing, send some fucking prayers out for him, because that's fucking rough, man. That's fucking rough. That being said, you gentlemen have anything else that I might have missed this week in the news world?
No, but that's a rough note to end on.
That's
I can't fucking imagine dealing with that as a parent myself. That would break me.
that's unimaginable.
It's definitely broken lesser men. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've definitely been praying for him. I hope the people that are closest to him are trying to support him and lift him up as best they can. But one thing I do have that I don't think you have mentioned, one fight. So we do have something else to actually end on, right? Ricky Simon versus Vinicius Oliveira, International Fight Week, June 29th.
Ooh.
That kid, Vinicius Oliveira, that got the crazy flying knee knockout that I talked about on the contender spot. He's really getting a contender spot because they're already throwing him up to Ricky Simon. So that's a hell of a fucking push for a second fight in the UFC. So that's something.
That's a jump. Fuck yeah, that's a big jump, and that's good.
And then putting him on International Fight Week, they're definitely pushing the kid. So
that's what I was gonna say, and for them to put it on that fucking Connor card, man, that means that they want the eyeballs on it for damn sure. Seems like
we'll see
UFC
what
is
he can do with it.
UFC is testing Ricky and giving Vinicius his fucking shot here potentially. Yeah, no, I'm fucking cool with that. Good fight, good shit, man. Well, that being said, that'll bring us to the point where if you're an old head like myself, you've probably been watching combat sports for a while and start to figure out what you like to watch and when it comes on and how to watch it, and you inadvertently start to develop a set of blinders, as it were, and you lose the forest for the trees. Excuse me. Luckily for us here on the podcast, we have ourselves a bona fide young person who just actively stays out there ever so vigilantly, just fingering the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be names before they actually are names, in a little segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
Appreciate you, brother. So start off with the fucking cans. Now, I'll finish off with the shit that I don't want to talk about, but I'll have to be honest about. Start off with the easy ones. Alessandro Costa. Costa fucking 1-2 so far in the UFC. The kid's young, but I just don't think he's at that fucking level, you know? He's pretty canny. You got Joaquim Silva. Definitely think he's a can. Has been back and forth in his career in the UFC. Think he's going to get his ass beat by Drakkar Klose, and Klose is just a mid-level fighter in all honesty, too. Fucking Jamie Malarkey. I like him. The dude is kind of get or get got. He kind of goes out there and throws down. He's a little tough, but he's a little canny at this point as well. It just hasn't looked good in his past few fights. Got a fight in general, right? And I'm sure that both of you will agree with this one. It's on the fucking main card. Obviously, a couple fights on the main card I really don't like. Makes it a little bit of a tough pay-per-view, you know, but Michel Pereira versus Ihor Potieria. Both of these dudes are cans. I don't give a fuck if Pereira's on a fucking winning streak. Can't stand the guy, his personality and everything that he stands for. This is just an easy fight. Like, there's nothing special about this. The fact it's on a main card of a pay-per-view is fucking ridiculous. Whether he's Brazilian or not doesn't fucking mean shit to me. I don't even think the crowd's going to be into that fight, to be goddamn honest. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, I had to put in the can. This is where the honesty starts going. She's just on the back end of her career. Even if she's on a 4-fight winning streak, I do feel like she's going to kind of be put out of her misery a little bit this weekend. Yasmin Lucindo, young lady, already 20 fucking fights in her pro career. She's 22 years old. Has looked pretty damn good since she got in the UFC. Only loss was to Jasmine Naregi in her debut. Those two ladies fucking went to absolute war and was one of the best fights that year. And then the last one, Anthony Smith. Had to put him in the can spot. As much as I love Anthony Smith, if you were to describe it, it's not the back nine for his career. He's on the 18th fucking hole. And I think he's about to fucking triple bogey that shit. I love him. I love Anthony Smith to shit, but this kid's young. He does have knockout power. He makes one fucking mistake, he's going to get put out. And at that point, what the fuck else does he have to offer? I feel like he's going to hang the gloves up because he's got his little podcast with Michael Bisping. He's fucking desk analyst for the UFC. He's going to make money in other fucking ways. At this point, he doesn't need to fight. He's getting old. He's fought since he was fucking, 18 years old, like right out of high school. Just seems like it's the end no matter how much I want to root for him this weekend, and I'd love to see him get the win. Fucking Vitor Petrino won by decision against Tyson Pedro, and that's the hope that I'm holding on to. Tyson Pedro's nothing special, and Petrino couldn't finish him. So, Anthony Smith gets the fight to the ground, probably going to fucking have the experience, maybe dominates that way, gets the win. Love to see it. Do I see it happening? No, I don't. This is another reason why the main card fucking sucks. But I had to put Anthony Smith in the fucking can spot. So now for my Schrodinger's contender on this card, the Scot, the Bear Jew, Ian Vincent love him. I'm sure you guys do as well. I love Paul Craig, but he's getting to that point, man. He's on the fucking fence for me. He's the contender. You got to get off this fence, beat the shit out of this annoying ass kid, Cal Barajo. Stop any bit of his hype train since he's on a win streak since he's gotten in the UFC. But he's a boring motherfucker. He just literally goes to try to hold a guy up against the fence or get the takedown and just hold him on the ground. He literally, almost every fight he has had in the UFC, doesn't even attempt to try to finish the fight, even work for a pass. Like, he does not even attempt jujitsu. I got to take down, hold him there. Can't stand that shit. I'm cool on watching guys actually roll around, you know, when they have some decent skill. But when you just sit there and try to hug each other, nobody wants to see that. Paul Craig has all the potential in the world to beat this kid's ass, win this fight. If he does, puts him in a situation that he should get a guy in the rankings, right? It puts him back into some contendership. You lose this fight, there's not a lot left for him. Makes him kind of canny. The contenders I have on this fucking card, this is some young kids. I got Elvis Brenner. This kid's been exciting since he got in the UFC, beating, Zubaira Tuhugov, Guram Kutaladze. Kid's pretty fucking good, seemingly. So I'm excited to see what he's got. Fighting another fucking exciting contender who, finished Uros Medic in his debut. That fucking Nick Tebek oral by guy. It's hard to pronounce some names, man. I'm excited for that fight. And William Gomi, the French kid, excited to see him as well. Think he's fucking got some good potential. Yeah, John Martinez. This is not because I think he's going to win the fight. It's just the potential. I put him in the contender spot because he's got the most to gain out of this entire card, in my opinion, because of who he's fighting. You're fighting fucking Jose Aldo, and you're fighting him in his home. He's the king of Rio. You beat him in any way, shape, or form, that does a lot for you. That could shoot the kid up. So he would be an automatic contender. So that's the only reason I put John Martinez in there. I think Aldo's going to win that fight, though. And I'm excited to see Aldo back. I would love Aldo knock John Martinez out the first round. It'd be so fucking exciting. You have the crowd blow up. And even if it's his last fight on the contract, he calls out Sean O'Malley. As much as I love Murat, just pass it on. Give us that. Just let Aldo go fuck O'Malley up, right? That's the best story in the world. So, I mean, we're all rooting for Aldo this weekend. Everybody in Rio is too. John Martinez has the most to gain on the card, in my opinion. Vitor Petrino, he's a contender, 26 years old. Light heavyweight division needs some fucking spice to it. It's one of the most boring divisions in the UFC. Kid's undefeated, 11-0. Probably going to knock Anthony Smith out. As much as I hate to say that, I'm still just being honest with that. Put Anthony in the can spot. This kid's contender. He's going to build off Anthony's fucking name and put himself up in the rankings. Yasmin Lucindo, touched on her when I said Kovalevich in the can spot. Lucindo's 22 years old. Like I said, 20 fucking pro fights. And she's looked great in the UFC. The only loss to Yasmin Jaregi, and that was an absolute fucking war between those two ladies. One of the best ladies fights I've seen in a while. Excited to see what she does. Got a fight as a whole. The fight I'm the most excited for other than the main event. Jack Shore versus Joe Anderson Brito. I think these two dudes are going to really fucking throw down. I'm excited for both of them. I think both of them have serious potential. Brito's fucking dangerous, in all honesty. The dude beat Diego Lopez in the Contender Series to get himself to the UFC. And Diego Lopez is doing what he's doing now. He's literally above the both of them, like in skyrocketing himself up in that featherweight division. So either one of these guys comes out on top, works themselves towards the rankings. Both of them, I feel like, have potential, even after the fact. Both of them are still pretty young. This is going to be one of the most exciting fights on the card, in my opinion. And then you got Vinny Siggs, Steve Erceg, man. Fucking fourth fight in the UFC, and he gets a fucking title shot. The kids look great. Knocked out Matt Schnell in his last fight. Does he really have it? We don't know, but it's intriguing as fuck. I'm here for it. Like, I am interested in this shit for sure. And then, like, it's just storyline sets up perfect. You got Perth in August. So if he can get this shit done, win the belt, he's going to be defending the belt in Perth. Potentially co-main event to fucking Izzy versus Drickus Duplessis. Like, holy shit. And that'll be his 5th fight in the UFC. This motherfucker's doing even better than Alex Pereira. Like, there's the history that could be made, the storyline, right? He hasn't even been in the UFC for a year. I just, obvious fucking contender. Love to hear what you boys got. It's easy to find the cans. Definitely excited to see what you got for your contenders.
It's definitely easy to find cans here. Very fucking easy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna avoid cans because there are a plethora to choose from. You can basically fucking spin a bottle in that fucking room and you're gonna hit a fucking can. That's how that's gonna work there. Now, I actually have a different fucking Schrodinger's can tender. And it goes against one of your cans, which is in Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I know she is on a fucking streak right now, but the people who she has beaten have been long in the tooth end of their careers or just getting started. I love Kowalkiewicz as a whole. Great fucking personality. She's had a great long career. But with Yasmin Lucindo coming up here, this is going to be the tall tale sign of whether she is fully committed back now that she's on that, what is she on, a 4 or 5 fight win streak now? If she can pull this one off, she's definitely back and belongs where she's at and belongs fighting somebody in at the top 10 area. Because I mean, she's sitting number 13 in this strawweight. So she's fighting an unranked, which makes sense. You're in that between 10 and 15 ranking. You may end up having to fight somebody who's unranked. That's just the nature of the beast of being in that ranking. But if she gets a good solid win here, she very well could pole vault herself up to fighting those between 5 and 10 contenders, which at that point, if she wins this fight, I agree wholeheartedly she should be getting those. But also, it does seem like her fire is relit. And because, I mean, there was a point where after that massive ass whooping she took, I didn't think she was ever going to fight again. Because she fucking got beat so goddamn bad you couldn't recognize her. And now to see her come back 4 fights in with 4 W's, I have to give her the contender spot. Because, yeah, she could fuck it here and we could just be a gatekeeper Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Or, yeah, we're making another run at it, which women's strawweight could use a little shakeup, so why not put her back into the shakeup mix again? Now, actually, you know what? I can't help it. I have to agree 100%. I have to go back to a can here, and it's the whole fucking fight. Michelle Pereira and the Hero Pateria. Fuck that fight. Should not be on the fucking main card at all. I can't help it. I can't look at the fucking roster of the fights that they have for this coming weekend and not say that one is not a fucking can versus can. Belongs in the dented soup bin at your fucking local goddamn poor grocery store is what I'm gonna call it. The super saver. It belongs on the early fucking prelims. I would much rather see Dion Barbosa or Nesta on the fucking main card versus those two. Okay, now that that's out of my fucking system. On the contender side of this, I'm there's plenty of easy fruit to pick here. As far as contenders are concerned, there's a lot more fucking cans than there are contenders. But I'm going the lightweight bout. As a whole, both of these two. And you touched on it as well. Delvres Brenner and fucking Mirtek Olabi, or however the fuck you say his last name, because I don't speak Kyrgyzstani or
Oral by.
whatever
Oral
language
by.
that is. I forget that they speak there. But both of those fighters are fucking very minimal losses, coming in with a lot of hype behind them. I think that has the potential to throw some new blood into the lightweight division out of those two. So as a fight, contender fight. And I'm going to give my other contender to Steve Erceg. Because even though he's only 4 fights in, the fights that we've seen him in shows he's both dominant on ground, can knock people out. So yeah, I think he's well rounded, but is he well rounded enough to take Pantoja right now? Pantoja's on a fucking hot streak and burning the building down. As much as I dislike Pantoja, he's doing all of the right things to fucking be the champ. Unfortunately, I don't think the split decision he won over Moreno was right, but after unanimously just fucking dog walking Roy Vol, which is what happened there. Yeah, he's fucking champ, but I would love to see Erceg as a contender right now come in sitting ranked number fucking 10. Somebody was just trying to throw Pantoja a bone to let Rio have one here, to let them have a champ fight in Rio. That's the best fucking possible thing I can come up with in my mind. But I think Erceg's got what it takes, and as relaxed of an individual as he is, I think I don't think the spot is going to get to him. So I have to give him the full contender fucking yeah, there's a good chance. Like I think the odds makers may be a little off on that one in my own opinion, but the hell do I know? It's not like I fucking blasted out a whole bunch of great picks last week, I'm just saying.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you agree on the Vinny Sigs, man. I'm excited to see what the fucking kid does. It'd be that's definitely one of those surprise what the fuck moments, especially if he finishes Pantoja. Oh man.
If he does, that's gonna throw that whole fucking division into a fucking uproar because they're gonna go, "What the fuck happened?" To be honest, I'm here for it. I love when shit like that happens. When you get a guy who doesn't look like he should be even there, and I say that lightly. Yeah, he's ranked number 10, but he's only had 4 fights in the UFC, 4, and he's already getting a title shot. I'm not mad about it, but he's also not a household name at this point. Like you can go to a lot of you can probably find quite a few casual fans that are not gonna fucking know who he is. Who? What the fuck's an Ursig? Is that like something you smoke?
Yeah, that's why his nickname's Vinny Sigs.
I'm just saying. I mean, the dude. Don't get me wrong. He looks like the perfect kind of street rat to come in there and fucking win a fight. That to me, that's about the best I can put it. That's why he gets a contender for me, other than what we've seen in those first 4 fights in the UFC, which he's shown out.
If you didn't know, the reason I call him Vinny Sig, his middle name is Vincenzo.
Vincenzo Erceg.
Yeah, that's what's fucking fantastic. Vinny loves it, My best friend's name is Vinny, and we got a Vinny Sigs fucking about to get a championship this weekend.
Hell yeah. No, there's a bunch of there's absolutely a bunch of cans on this fucking card, but to be fair, there's a bunch of cans on every fucking card lately. Even UFC 300 had fucking cans slipped in there as well. So, I'm not gonna tear too deep into it here. I will say my can for this one is a whole fight. I'm not going to go nitpick. I'm taking a whole fucking fight, and I do agree Pereira versus Ihor Pateria doesn't belong on the fucking main card. That absolutely should be buried in the fucking prelims But there's one that I don't even think needs to be on this fucking card at all. Ismail Bonfim versus Vince Pichel. This isn't even fucking prelim worthy. This is a fight night prelim fight if we have to insist on fucking making it. I love From Hell Pichel. He is a fucking dog of dog, and he has been in there since the days of the Damage Elkins run and fucking shop rug shot on fucking people. So I absolutely tip my hat to From Hell Pichel for still doing the goddamn thing. But fuck Bonfim. This fight has no fucking place on this card. I get that he's Brazilian and they want to keep the hometown boy in there, but fighter man, I don't fucking care. Fuck that whole fight. I will say, contender, the whole fucking ladies fight. Carolina versus Yasmin. I don't have any fucking clue how that fight is going to end. The only thing that I know about this fight is it's going to be fucking crazy. Both of these ladies are spectacular. If you've watched the Embedded series coming out this week, Carolina is in probably the best shape she has ever been in her entire fucking career. And she is on point and ready to fucking go, coming in on a 4-fight fucking run. We have seen what Yasmin Sindhu is fucking capable of. And that girl is one of the fucking top prospects in the ladies fucking UFC side of things, in my opinion here. We've seen her come out, kick ass, and take fucking names. And that's just the tip of the iceberg because she's just getting fucking started. So that fight, in my opinion, is going to blow the fucking doors off. I'm just not sure which direction it's going to fall to blow those fucking doors off. So I love that fight all the way across the fucking board. The one contender, though, that I am almost morbidly fucking curious about is Drakkar Klose. Is he actually back? Because we haven't really seen Drakkar Klose be Drakkar Klose since the shove and then the neck incident. But again, like Carolina, if you've been following Drakkar coming into this week, past the eye test, past the sniff test, the motherfucker looks ready, sounds ready, seems ready. If this is the Drakkar Klose that initially came into the UFC again, boy, this is going to be a fucking banger. Because like you mentioned earlier, Joaquim Silva has got some fucking potential. We've seen some glints of fucking possibilities in that boy's fucking future as well. Drakkar Klose back at the way he should be, that could be a fucking banger as well. So I'm definitely in on Drakkar Klose, hoping he doesn't make me look like an idiot, but I think Joaquim Silva's not going to give him much of an option. I think he's going to force him to be in a goddamn scrap, and I think that one's going to turn out to be entertaining as shit.
Shit. I like it. I definitely think Drakkar has that ability to make a little bit of a run. I'd like to see it. He's looked good as of late. I totally agree with you, Can pick to Bonfim. I always call him Vink Peichel. It's funny. It's funny as hell. It's Vince Pichel. I always call him Vink Peichel, man.
I've had two other people do the same fucking thing because you don't see the name Vince with the INC very often.
That seems more fun to me. That's why I've always done that. You know, I'm like Chill Sonnen, I guess, with him.
Right.
Fucking, you just did the mustache too. He always kind of reminded me of Vlad the Impaler. So I always called him Vink Peichel. You know, he got his pike with him. Yeah, I don't know. I always like that. Has a better ring to it. But the fight shit. So I agree with you on that. But I like the Peichel name better. I think he'd be a better fighter if he actually fucking pronounced it. Oh, shit. I appreciate you, boys. That's it for my fucking shit.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. So that'll bring us to the point where in most podcasts, you're going to get some fucking bullshit B-roll from some fucking company that doesn't have anything to do with the show and something that nobody on the show actually fucking uses. And we don't fucking play that game around here. I'm No Joe podcast is supported, sponsored, and funded by the fans. If you like what we get up to around here, patreon.com/I'm No Joe. For as little as $1 a month, you help us do what we do, and you get your name as a reward on the end of every single broadcast on this channel as a thank you, as well as unrestricted and unfettered access to behind the scenes and the unaired things that we just literally can't put out to the public, even through OnlyFans. But luckily, Patreon's for big kids, so we put all the fun stuff over there. You help us do what we do. We give you access to all the goodies. Works out all the way around. That being said, though, this is the only portion of the show that does actually require its own individual disclaimer. So, Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form support, sponsor, or endorse the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology.com does offer you the option to go onto their site, create a free account, and make fantasy-style MMA picks just like we do here. They even let you make groups. So we did. We made one called I'm No Bookie, or Group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcome and encouraged to hop on the site, make yourself an account, join the group, and let us know who the fuck you are so we can hold your picks accountable with ours in a little thing we call Tapology with TJ.
All right, so we're back. So I took last week off because unfortunately Friday didn't work for me. But shit happens. Speaking of shit happening, let's get this out of the way right off the get-go. We're gonna hop into last week's results of shit happening in the Nicolau Press UFC fight night. The fights weren't that bad. They weren't that great. Overall, it was a decent watch. I'll give it that. Now, we have to address the elephant in the room. If you decide to join Tapology and join our group, let us know who you are so we can call you out when shit goes awry. That's I'm No Bookie, Group 965. Just so that way you know where to go. But now to the elephant in the room. When you fail to put in your picks, no matter what the reason, you're going to catch shit about it. That does not exclude anyone, least of all our host Meter here. Somebody decided to get a little sickly on Friday night after fucking the show went down and did not get his picks locked in. It's amazing that you can talk about the card coming up and not get your fucking picks locked in. So this is not a case of trip over your dick. This is a case of you went out to your car, you opened the hood, flopped your dick out on it, and then slammed the hood shut multiple fucking times because it wouldn't latch. This is what happens when you don't put your picks in. You don't have just a bruised ego, you have a bruised dick. That doesn't make it bigger, by the way. Just want to make sure everybody knows that. Swelling doesn't count. Now, on to the true person who actually tripped over their dick this week that got their picks in. Wasn't a dick they tripped over. It was their beef curtains. Fucking Donna took the bottom spot out of everybody. She's the only one who can play double dutch by herself, by the way. Just want to say that it doesn't take more than one to tango in this case. To her credit, she was over 50% in picks. 7-13, not a bad score. In fact, everybody who actually put their picks in was over 50%. So as a group, fucking hats off. I mean, everybody was literally one pick, 2 picks out of possibly winning. Now, all of that being said, everybody was pretty stacked, pretty fucking close in the middle there. Even Donna really wasn't far off of what that middle ground was. She was 75 points off. So not a huge swing. It's not a huge swing until you go from second place in Vin Dog the Booty Hog to where I was sitting atop the fucking pile. Vin Dog sitting at 555 points to my 705. Now, to put that into perspective for everyone, because I'm going to pat myself on the back here because I'm pretty fucking excited about this. There were almost 5,000 people that put in picks on Tapology last weekend for this fight card. My ranking was 32 out of almost 5,000. Probably one of the best weeks I've had in a long fucking time. Kind of mad that those other two fights fucked me on the card that I didn't get right, because that could have been the difference between 32 and actually getting first place out of all 5,000 of these motherfuckers. But we fell short. We'll come back again next week, try and probably fail miserably. I'm not gonna lie. Based on the way last week went, I think I used all my luck up for like the next 5 fucking cards, and shit is just gonna hit the fan. So I'm gonna run around with my fucking t-shirt off like I just fucking scored a goal in the World Cup, and we're gonna enjoy the shit out of this while it lasts. Like I said, probably won't be long because I'm probably gonna trip over my dick this week, because that's just how this goes sometimes. But again, if you haven't joined the group, please join us. It's a good time. Let us know who you are. I'm NoBookie, Group 965 on Tapology. We've got quite a few people in the group, but I don't know who all of them are. So there's only a select number that will get talked about when they do well. So, but everybody in the group that did get their picks in, minus the guy who slammed it in the fucking for you, those of you in Europe who slammed it in the boot. Fucking well done. Hopefully the elephant in the room decides to not throw shit out of his trunk this week and put his picks in. In fact, I would highly suggest that he save them tonight. But, just in case he doesn't have time to go back and check after the weigh-ins happen tomorrow. Hey, anyhow, that's gonna bring us on to this week for our first fucking pay-per-view past 300. We're on to UFC 301. Really doesn't seem like it should be 301 already, but it is. So here we fucking are. I'm gonna talk about some odds. For the most part, as per usual lately, the odds are pretty close to coin flips. There are quite a few more on this though that are not than normal. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about those ones, and we're gonna start with one that's not so wide, but it's getting onto the wider side, and that is that wonderful fight where I can't pronounce that dude's fucking name, so we're just gonna go with Elvis and the dude from Kyrgyzstan because I'm not gonna fuck up his name. We've got Elvis coming in as a plus 200 underdog to the Kyrgyzstani at a minus 250 favorite. So not super wide odds, but enough to let you know, hey, they're there. And like I said, both of those guys are huge up and comers. So that fight could go either way. It might not be one that you do bad on betting on Elvis. The money back there would be nice if you're betting on him.
Interesting that they gave the Brazilian the underdog status, especially somebody from Charlie Olive's fucking camp in Brazil, blonde hair and all, and he's the underdog still.
There's some irony there. That's why I said it. So I said
Noted,
when I was saying the odds makers might have some of the odds wrong earlier. I wasn't kidding. Next one I'm going to talk about here, Karolina Kowalkiewicz and Yasmin Lucindo. They've got the higher ranked Kowalkiewicz coming in as a plus 300 underdog, or to a minus 400 favorite in Lucindo. So they got the young up and comer, like we're saying. She very well could take that spot, but this is another one of those ones where I said earlier, I think Kowalkiewicz is a contender. There is a possibility she could walk through here and go, oh, yep, the new up and comers aren't good enough yet. But it's one we'll see. I think the odds might be a little too wide on that, if you ask me. So it might be one worth betting on. To start getting into some of these larger odds, we're going to hop over to the Anthony Smith and Victor Petrino fight. Anthony Smith, as we said earlier, getting long in the tooth. Fucking Christian called it. He's probably on 18 looking at the clubhouse, getting ready for that putt. They got him coming in as a plus 400 underdog. And Victor Petrino as a minus 550 favorite. I think those might be a little wide, but I can understand them. Because we know that Anthony's chin has gotten a little suspect as of late. And, well, that's the one thing in MMA you never get back. Now, on to some even wider odds here. I'm going to talk about the Bear Jew and fuckery McBrala. I don't even, I want to come up with a fucking nickname for him because he seems like a juiced up fucking Andre Touchy-Feely. Maybe that's what that is. Or like, or somebody's fucking dirty cousin. There's something weird about that dude that just doesn't sit right with me. But anyhow,
I agree. He definitely has a juicy feely kind of look to him.
yeah. And so right here they've got the Bear Jew coming in as a plus 450 underdog, which is a little crazy to me. But then they've got Barhalo coming in as a minus 650 favorite. Now, to back that up on the card, the fight coming directly after that, the fight no one wants on the fucking pay-per-view at all. Michelle Pereira and Ihor Pateria, excuse me. They've got Ihor coming in as a plus 475 underdog, and Michelle coming in as a minus 650. Look, not only do I dislike Michelle, but anybody who names their kid Michelle as a man, your parents fucked you from the get-go, which is probably part of the reason I don't like you. Probably part of the reason you have such a terrible fucking attitude. I'm just saying. So I think they're doing some heavy weighting of odds for some of the Brazilians, not all of them. There is one other one that I did want to touch on that is a little wider before I cover the main and co-main, and that is the Ismael Bonfim and Vince Pichel. They have Pichel coming in as a plus 400 underdog to a minus 550 favorite in Bonfim. Which, well, as we learned, the first time the Bonfims fought on the same card, it looked like they could both be really good, but we found out one is not and one is, well, okay. But I don't think the odds should be that wide on that. Even though Vince Pichel looks like he smokes 10 packs a day, Winston fucking bare ass, and, you know, I figured, dude, with a mustache like that, dude, he's got to have a cowboy hat somewhere. I'm just saying. Like, I expect a deep voice and him sitting next to a guy at a bar drinking White Russians. That's what I fucking imagine as he's trying to give him life advice. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Coming the fucking co-main here in Jonathan Martinez and Jose Aldo. Coin flip. They legitimately have a coin flip. Aldo is a minus 125 underdog, and Martinez is a minus 150 favorite. So that can go either way. The money line there is not good. As surprisingly enough, the main event in Alexandre Pantoja and Steve Erceg fucking coin flipped it. They fucking coin flipped it. I think the odds might be a little off there, being as Steve Erceg's only got 4 fights in the UFC. But they've got it as a coin flip. They've got Erceg coming as a plus 150 underdog in fucking Brazil against the current champ at a minus 185 favorite in Alexandre Pantoja. I think the odds makers could have widened the odds a little bit on that in favor of Pantoja, strictly because he's in fucking Brazil. But I'll take a coin flip on that all day, which goes to Christian's nice point earlier about Erceg is a fucking contender. Because if the odds makers are seeing it that way, even that fucking tells you something. I hate to be this guy, but the odds makers are usually pretty good about fucking kind of telling you where people lie as far as sport is concerned. It's not always the case, and we've seen that time and time again, but for the most part, they probably bat about a 70% rating or better. So take that what you will. There are quite a few fights on the card this week to make some money on. So if you're a betting man, bet away. Like I said, I pull everything from BetMGM. So if your odds vary depending on where you're placing your bet, that's just based on other places. So uh, take that all with a grain of salt of what we're saying. But those are the odds for this week, and we'll see what we can do this week as far as picks are concerned. So get over, pick with us. I'm No Bookie, Group 965 over on Tapology. Best part of it, it's fucking free. It's free entertainment. It's free to see. Maybe I should be a betting man because I had a really good week and blasted motherfuckers out of the water. And then the next week go, oh, I lost my house. I'm just saying. And the best part of this, I can bet everything I want on one fighter, what round, how he's gonna fucking win, and it doesn't cost me my fucking house or my livelihood or my legs for that matter, because I'm not dealing with an actual bookie. As you can tell, I'm no bookie.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. So, want to run down real quick the combat sports, the fight menu for the combat sports weekend we have coming up, because it is jam fucking pack. Obviously, we're talking about UFC 302, or 301, and we're going to talk about 301 more in just a minute here, but there's punchy kicky all weekend to be had. So, kicking off first thing tomorrow evening on Amazon Prime. Well done again. One Fight Night 22, a true mixed martial arts discipline card from over in Thailand. We have got 4 MMA fights, 2 kickboxing fights in 4-ounce gloves, which I fucking love. 1 grappling match, and then 4 Muay Thai matches in 4-ounce gloves, which I fucking love as well. So this is one the casuals are going to recognize a couple names. The hardcores are going to know most of the names on here, but again, true multi-discipline mixed martial arts card. Also kicking off tomorrow evening at 8 Eastern, 7 Central over on Fight Pass, LFA 183 from down in Rio. They are over there with the UFC. They're putting their card on Friday night. This is another of the UFC's feeder organizations. Obviously, they're down in Rio with the UFC. Belt on the line in the main event between the ladies. So there are a couple of names on here the casuals are going to recognize. But again, this is one of those organizations you want to keep an eye on, because some of these names are going to be the names that you're going to follow in the UFC one day. Starting us off bright and early, noon Eastern, 11 Central in the AM. Octagon 57. This is the organization that we just had a top alleged prospect deny the UFC for the 3rd time to stay with Octagon in Europe, because that's where he's making his name for himself. Tomorrow they kick off another show in Octagon 57. There are a couple names again on this one the casuals are going to recognize. Hardcores are going to recognize several of the names here, but another UFC feeder organization. So some of these names are going to end up being names. Tomorrow afternoon, kicking off, or excuse me, not tomorrow, but Saturday afternoon, rather, kicking off at 5 p.m. Eastern, or excuse me, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Brain word. UFC 301 live from Rio de Janeiro. And then the final piece for the weekend, if UFC 301 just somehow isn't enough for you, kicking off at 7 p.m. Eastern Saturday night from Las Vegas, one of the biggest boxing cards of the year, Canelo versus Munguia. This is a lot of people saying Canelo's toughest test yet, trying to move around, waits a little bit, see where he can establish himself as the GOAT. Going to be fun fighting all weekend long. If that is your cup of tea, there's plenty of tea to be had this weekend. That being said, if you know pay-per-views and you know this show, then you will know by the GIF that rolls across the screen when we get to this point in the show that this is when we stop being hee ha ha and we start to get a little bit serious, and a little heads up thing that we call the pit. This is where we turn things a little competitive and we put one against the other. and a little construct of competition here with UFC 301, our first big pay-per-view on the board in the post 300 era. We're going to put these boys head to head for you. So, gentlemen, are you boys ready for some pit action?
Look at me having to cut weight last minute fucking again because nobody wants to put me in the loop.
Oh, he didn't put me in the fucking loop either. So I guess we're both gonna miss weight, but this is gonna somehow still go on. It's gonna be a catch weight.
Dude,
Might be a fight for the ages.
Jim Smoker.
600K bonus my way.
All right, 600K. All right, so with UFC 301 upon us, oh, shit, I thought I actually did have a point here. I was going to do a point. We'll use jar. All right. Heads or tails, Christian?
Tails.
It came up tails, lid side down. So Christian will go first. All right. With this Rio de Janeiro card upon us, the hype has been obviously predominantly Brazil based because it's a card stacked full of fucking Brazilians. So while they've been hyping up the Brazilians, is there one fight in particular on this card that you have seen in the hype up process that when it comes on, you just have to make sure everyone in earshot is paying attention, if you will, hey, Bo, get in here type of fight for you on the Rio card?
Yeah, and they've got it in a decent spot, but I don't think it's been talked about worth a damn. Joe Anderson Brito is Brazilian, but Brito versus Jack Shore, man, is something I don't think any of us can fucking miss. Even people who haven't gotten into MMA, that's one of those fights you gotta fucking show somebody new, try to get them into it. Both of those guys are pretty well rounded. We might get a standing fucking battle. We might get an amazing grappling battle. I feel like that's just going to be the funnest fight on the entire fucking card. Jack Shore's only lost the one fight in his fucking career. Had a crazy winning streak going on when he got in the UFC. Take the one loss. Ricky Simon is no big deal. He's bounced back against Armaquani in his last fight. This should definitely be a big fucking win. Burrito's been a little bit of trouble so far. Like I touched on earlier, he fucking did beat Diego Lopez on the Contender Series to get his ass in the UFC in the first place. I'm really excited for this fight. I don't think a lot of people have been talking about it. I think just because Jack Shore lost to Ricky Simon, everybody kind of forgot about him. He did get injured too, so it's been a little minute since we've seen him, but I still feel like the kid's got a hell of a lot of potential. It's going to be a fun fucking fight.
I can definitely agree with that. So, Galti, that'll bring us back across the octagon over here to you, as it were. With all of these crazy fights on this Rio de Janeiro return card, which one, in your opinion, is the "Hey, Mo, get over here" card that you've got to make sure everybody around you watches when it turns out?
Keep going back to it all night. And I'm gonna fuck his name up right now, real bad. But I'm gonna start with Elvis Brenner. Because that one I can figure out. Can't fuck that up. Alright, time for me to fuck this name up. Make the back Olabai. Probably fucking that, but that's all right. Both of these guys coming in hot. Coming in real fucking hot. Make the back. Yeah, like dude from fucking Kyrgyzstan. We're gonna keep with that all fucking night long. Comes in, knocks out Heroes Medic in his first, or fucking submits him in his first fight. Excuse me, knocks him out. Fucking chokes him out. Gets fucking first fight in the UFC. What a way to introduce yourself to the world, especially after what we just seen him to do this last week in a fucking single punch knockout. You got Brenner, he's coming in on a 3-fight win streak in the fucking UFC now. Looked a little rough in his fucking first fight and a little split decision, but then back-to-back knockouts in his last 2 fucking fights. And in the lightweight category, this is the kind of toss-ups that we're talking about wanting to see in the UFC. Get these divisions moving a little bit. Get these fucking hype young guys or young into the UFC guys. Throw a little smoke in the water. You know? This fight has it. Both of these guys, young up and comers, and already showing out. Only 4 fights between them, but guess what? That's enough just by seeing the quality of their wins. Not necessarily quantity, but the quality in the way that they've won. This has fireworks written on it, and it's just a matter of which one's going to explode in the shoot and which one's actually going to put on the show.
I can definitely agree with that. I think there's definitely some potential in that fucking fight for sure. We've seen Elvis Brenner literally go out there and fight through blood running down his fucking face. He turned his blonde hair fucking pink the last time we saw him out there, and it didn't slow him down. So that fight definitely has some potential. And that fucking Kyrgyzstani dude, that guy is a Terminator, man. He's just coming for all the fucking smoke from everybody. So I'm definitely interested in that fight as well. Jack Shore, I agree. I think that man has a lot of potential, and I think he's had a lot of time off with that injury for people to forget about what he's capable of. So I think that fight has absolutely got some potential to be a banger as well. Good call on both sides here, gentlemen.
There is something
So
about the Welsh.
I'm telling you, man, they're all fucking crazy in the funnest fucking way. So that'll bring us back over here to Golf Tee to start off round 2 here. So every fight has always got at least one card that is always underhyped that you got to make sure everybody pays attention to. But to the flip side of that coin, that almost always means that there is one fight that gets way more fucking shine than it deserves. The overhyped fight, if you will. There's a couple that I can think of on this Brazilian card here, but in your opinion, which one for you is the most overhyped fight on this 301 card?
There's some low-hanging fruit here, and I'm not going to take the bait on the low-hanging fruit because we all know what that is on the main event, and I'll just leave it at that. I'm actually going to stray away from the main event a bit here, because unfortunately, I don't think this is as good as everyone thinks it's going to be. And that is the Drakkar Klose and Joaquim Silva. Yeah, you said it earlier. Drakkar is passion, the look, the smell, the sniff test, all of that. But to be honest, I've never been extremely wowed by Drakkar Klose. I don't think he's as good as what people think he is. There's something about the dude that just tells me you get him out of the fucking second round, and what happens to him? His gas tank fucking goes to shit. Get him halfway through the second round, and his gas tank starts to go, which is ironic considering the dude he's a fucking wrestler at heart. But then you just gotta fucking beat another fucking Brazilian. That's all I can say. He's hit or miss in the UFC. He barely fucking beat out Clay Guida. And to be honest, that's a pretty sad thing. I loved Clay Guida, but when you can barely beat a guy who's that long in the fucking tooth, there's nothing exciting about this. And to put it on a premier early prelim spot, this is like a prelim card on a UFC fight night, not an early prelim on a fucking pay-per-view night, in my opinion. But again, I think it's just because another case of the UFC wanting to shove a fighter down your throat, and that fighter being Drakkar Klose. But fuck do I know? Not like I watch any MMA or talk about it.
Kids these days, I tell you. So that'll bring us back over here, the other side of the octagon, as it were. Slow bake on every card. If we have got one that you have to make sure everybody watches, there is always one where you're going to be able to just go and take a piss or do your dab or finger bang your old lady, whatever you happen to do in your particular 15-minute window of time. The overhyped fight, the one that you don't need to watch in this particular situation for 301. Which one stands out to you, Christian?
People's main event. Like TJ said, I'm going to dodge the lowest hanging fruit, but I'm taking this one. Like I was honest with my Kansas contender segment, Anthony Smith, just on that 18th hole, man. If he was playing a game of golf, he's on the 18th hole, and the motherfucker's going to triple bogey, in my opinion. If Vitor Petrino's just getting a little too much push, lackluster performance against a guy like Tyson Pedro, and now you're giving him a guy like fucking Anthony Smith that could potentially shoot this kid up into the top 10 of the division. If he doesn't fucking finish Anthony, he just wins another lackluster fucking decision and still gets that ranking. It's just rough. So, and we could easily get that. Just like we normally see. You either get exciting fights with light heavyweights, or you get Walter slap fights. It's being put on the main event. It's also really questionable. You could say Anthony Smith doesn't deserve to be put on a main event of a pay-per-view at this point. 1-3 in his last 4, on a bad fucking streak at the end of the career. And this Petrino kid, he's got some knockout power, but he also hasn't done a lot since he got in the UFC yet. So the push is questionable. It just shows how desperate they are at these fucking heavier divisions. Is damn sure over fucking hyped. Damn sure not a fight I want to see. If Anthony does get knocked out, don't want to fucking see that. Seen too many of those fighters we've watched growing up get finished that way, and they should just, end the shit before it gets to that point.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that one as well. I agree. I think Anthony Smith is absolutely looking at least a bogey standing on fucking 18 and just dreading walking into that fucking clubhouse. I think you guys are right on the money. So, that being said, that'll flip us back around over here. Christian will kick this one off for round 3. So, we have got an interesting co-main event here. One of, in my opinion, the least hyped co-main events in a long fucking time. And I don't understand why we make regular bullshit co-main events 5-round fights, but we get the return of Jose fucking Aldo, the king of Rio, in Rio, and they're still just going to make it a 3-round fucking co-main. That being said, the king of Rio is back. Jose Aldo is unfucking retired and stepping in against Jonathan Martinez in this co-main event for 301 down in Rio. I'm curious how you think this one shakes loose, sir.
Well, it would have been nice if they would have given Aldo somebody different, convinced Dominic Cruz to get his ass down there and give us a little bit of more of a fun fight, give Aldo a little bit of a better name to get his ass back here. But I'm beyond fucking excited to see it. Like, it's crazy, right? Aldo retired a couple years ago. Last year gets inducted in the Hall of Fame. He's been boxing. He's still been competing. He's stayed in shape. But to get back in the UFC, that's just fun as fuck. They definitely needed something for this card. That's kind of why, partially. And then, you also think this is the last fight on his contract. He just kind of wants to get the fuck away like Nate Diaz. I think he's going to destroy Jonathan Martinez. I think, Aldo still got a lot in the fucking tank. Fighting wise, he's pretty old, right? He's been fighting for a really long time, especially in the UFC. He's had a ton of fights professionally, but still 37. I feel like he can seriously still do something like we were talking about earlier. Maybe he's the motherfucker that just blasts the roof off the place this weekend, right? First round knockout, decimates Martinez, has the crowd going crazy, similar to the knockout he had before, where he jumps into the crowd and everybody's losing their mind. We have a moment similar to that, without him jumping in the crowd again, because we don't need him getting fined by no athletic commissions or any of that bullshit. But then I love Marab. But you could potentially see him getting jumped over Marab just to fight O'Malley later this year. So it's fun as shit. That to me, it's one of the funnest things. It's one of the only things that we get that is fun. The fight itself doesn't mean shit to me. Like the fact that he was giving Jonathan Martinez, to me, it's similar as what we thought with Pantoja, right? Oh, they're just throwing easy money to fucking appease the Brazilian crowd and get them riled up and have a good ass time because they're paying all that money to fucking see the show. Now I think Benny Siggs has a serious chance. I don't see Jonathan Martinez having a good chance against Aldo though. I think Aldo gets it done easy, and I'll be excited to see what he does. Even if he leaves the UFC, he'll be getting big fucking money. If he goes somewhere else, gets other fights, does some big boxing shit, gets his freedom, it'll be fun too. So, like it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think either way, the outcome here is Jose Aldo finishes out that UFC contract, and then he's free to go make money however, wherever, whenever the fuck he wants to. And I think that's the ultimate fucking win here. But I think this fight's got some definite potential fun in it as well. So that'll bring us back across the octagon here. Golf T, the King of Rio returns to save 301, despite the hilarious shenaniganry from Alex Pereira on fucking social media with the fake UFC 301 package and shit. Props to fucking Poeton for that one. I will give him credit. Glover has really made that motherfucker so much funnier than he was before. But he's not here. Jose is here. The King returns. Aldo versus Martinez in our co-main event. How do you think it shakes loose, sir?
You know, I want to know how big of a dump truck the UFC backed up to Jose Aldo to get him to fight. In all honesty, I think that was a massive fucking dump truck. For a reason number one, there's a couple of his last fights where he got fucked on bad decisions. Like bad. Like, egregious. Two, I don't think he's in it anymore. I think him moving over to boxing was the right move. Also, 37 years old. And what used to make Jose Aldo great, all the leg kicks he threw. If we noticed in his last couple fights, albeit 2 years ago plus, he wasn't throwing anywhere near as many leg kicks as he used to. And those leg kicks are what used to win him fucking fights. Because they would set up everything else up in his arsenal. Now, across the board, Jonathan Martinez has not lost a fight since 2021. And I think he's on a 6 or 7 fight win streak right now. Martinez is the real fucking deal. It's surprising that he's only ranked 12 right now. But then again, you can never count Jose out. To me, this is a legitimate coin toss to me, because I don't know if Jose's in it completely or if it is just let me finish out my contract. Thanks for the fucking 2 dump trucks full of money or 10 that you backed up. It's guaranteed he got that 300 bonus one way, shape, or form just to take another fight. I've been fucking out of MMA for 2 fucking years. It was just shy of 2 years, because it was August of 22 was his last fight. But do I want to see him win? Yeah. Who doesn't want to see fucking Jose win? Do I think it's going to happen? No. To be honest, I think the 2 years away from the MMA is going to bite him in the ass. Don't get me wrong, his boxing's going to be on fucking point because that's what he's been doing the last 2 years. But there's all of that other shit that he didn't have to worry about while he was boxing. And is his brain going to be able to make that switch back over to, oh, I got to look for a takedown or a leg kick or possible head kick? All these extra limbs that come into fucking play there. Martinez has been living that fucking dream. I don't think we're going to see him finish Jose. But I think he'll take him the distance and get the fucking decision win. And then expect to get shit thrown at him like he's in Mexico fucking City because people love fucking Jose so goddamn much. And I can't blame them. I'm big fan. But I just don't see him getting it done as much as I would love to see it happen. I think Jonathan Martinez continues his winning streak and with that big name gets a huge fucking push. Probably a top 5 fighter that he gets next because of the name. If Aldo wins, it means dick for the division other than fucking a guy on the way up. Because I don't think Aldo's going to fight again after this. I think it's going to be the legit, oh, this was the last fight on my contract. Fuck it. I got my win. I jumped over the cage. I ran out of the fucking arena. Called it a day. Unfortunately, I don't see him riding off into the sunset here. He's going to limp off into the sunset with Jonathan Martinez taking the W via decision.
Interesting take. I do think, since this is theoretically, we haven't confirmed, theoretically this is the last fight on his UFC contract. I do think that win or lose, that he's going to put his gloves down in the cage in Rio, and this will be it. I would love to see him do it with a fucking W, but I do agree there is equally a chance that Martinez is just too much because he's been in this the whole time. Jose Aldo's been out beating the shit out of Jeremy Stevens and playing in the boxing world. So there is a genuine chance that Jonathan might just fuck up Jose's return and end up costing UFC a lot of money. Could get real interesting. So that'll bring us into round 4. Back over to Golf Tee to kick this one off here. We have got, I will say, probably the quickest run to a title aside from Brock Lesnar in the UFC, because even Poatan didn't get rushed quite this quick. They tried, but he had a couple fights drop out in the meanwhile. This is the 4th fight Steve Erceg has had in the UFC. 2 fights on the prelims, 1 fight in his UFC career on a main card. And now he is going to Brazil, to enemy territory, to fight for the fucking belt. Vincenzo Erceg steps in to try and make his claim to greatness this weekend against Alexandre Pantoja. How's it play out?
You know, talking about this one kind of irks me because unfortunately, a lot of times when it comes to things like this, I let my emotions get the best of me, or my love or hatred of a fighter get the best of me. And I'm gonna fucking let it happen here. To Alexandre Pantoja's credit, his last I will say loss in air quotes was to Askar Askarov. And that was like 8 fights ago. Yes, he beat Moreno, but that should have been a loss as well, and never should have held the title. He's held it down now after coming out and definitively beating Royval for the 2nd time. So he's now cemented as a not only title holder, but an undisputed title holder. Erceg coming in fucking hot and fast. I'm wondering, is this going to be the case of the meteor entering the Earth's atmosphere and burning up before it hits the ground? Or is this bitch a mile wide and takes out the entire city of fucking Rio? I'm inclined to believe that Pantoja is not as good as everybody thinks he is. The only thing he has going for him is he's got power in his hands for fucking somebody in the fucking flyweight division. I don't think he's as good on the ground as people think he is. I think Erceg will be just fine on the ground. He can scramble. And obviously, Erceg has fucking knockout power too. Otherwise, he wouldn't fucking finish Schnell the way he did. I'm just saying. I'm gonna take the fucking long road here. And I think Erceg gets it fucking done. Makes one of the biggest upsets, in my opinion. This would be one of the biggest upsets in fucking UFC history because it is a Brazilian champ in Brazil on a pay-per-view card coming into enemy territory with only 4 fights into your UFC career. I think he's got what it takes to get it done. Do I think they've rushed him a little bit? Yeah, because if anybody should have been rushed at this point, probably should have been a wrestler from fucking Penn State. But fuck do I know? The UFC does some really weird shit. And well, this is gonna let the world know exactly what Steve Erceg is made of. This is that definitive moment in his career of, am I in this for the long run, or do I not really belong here? Because if your goal was only to become UFC champion and you fail right here, he's got a long road out. Or a really short road, depending on how he looks at it. And to be honest, if Pantoja wins, it surprises nobody because the guy's only got 4 fights in his fucking UFC career that he's fighting as a title challenger ranked number 10. Who the fuck for their second title defense gets the number 10 ranked fucking guy? And the best part is when the fucking bookies have it damn near a coin flip. You know what that tells me? It's okay to take the fucking underdog and Steve Erceg. I'm taking that contender all the way to fucking champ status this week. And to be honest, I think there's a good possibility that he finishes Pantoja in Brazil, gets hit with the beer bottle after it's all done, while they're still announcing it because all of fucking Rio is going to be pissed.
Yeah, I'd say there's definite possibility for sure. Could be very interesting. I gotta say, Vincenzo is going into enemy territory fully fucking prepared and not bothered in the least bit. If you watch, we talked about it earlier. If you watched Embedded this week, he's full on come to Rio as a tourist. Like he's not even looking like he's there to fight. Literally, he's wearing the fucking Walmart polo for the face off in front of the Chrysler Redeemer and shit. Like he is completely unfazed by this. So Steve Erceg versus Alexandre Pantoja in the main event for the strap, the 4th fight for the Aussie coming in to try and take gold back. Christian, how do you think this one shakes loose at the end of the day?
Well, I easily agree with how I talked about it on my contender spot, man. Vinny fucking Sigs all the way. I'm not on the fence about it at all, similar to TJ. I'm 100% fucking thinking Steven Erceg is going to go out there and somehow get a finish. It's just like you were mentioning there, Meter. Dude is like stone cold fucking calm as hell. Just normal fucking dude. He's got a fantastic personality. He seems like such a nice kid, but he's a badass fucking fighter from what we've already seen. And then, like TJ as well said, man, we're gonna finally fucking see what he's really fucking made of. Pantoja's on this 5-fight winning streak. He's literally gone through almost everybody in the top 10 other than Amir Albazi. And that's why they're giving Erceg this shot too, because Pantoja's gone through everybody. Wasn't just to try to throw the dude a bone. I for sure see Ursa getting a finish. And could you imagine, like TJ mentioned, not just getting a bottle thrown at him. This is how I see it. Like we're gonna have a crazy crowd more likely than not, right? Brazil is always fantastic. It's gonna be a decent card the whole way up. You get Jose Aldo to actually go out there, do the damn thing. Crowd's going fucking insane. You get to that main event, and Usyk ruins it all at the very end. That whole crowd's going to be chucking everything they motherfucking can at the octagon. It's going to be like what we saw, what, just 4 years ago or something like that. Brandon Fitzgerald fucking hiding under the goddamn announcer desk like a pussy. Oh, shit. Oh. Michael Bisping's just sitting there fucking cussing like, come on, bastard. Yeah. I think we might see absolute utter chaos, and that's what makes it even better. The potential to turn a lackluster pay per view into something actually fucking really entertaining once we get to the end of it. Vinny Siggs all the way, man.
I gotta say, there is definite potential for Rio to be fucking spoiled at the very end by Vincenzo for damn sure. I absolutely agree with both of you. The only thing that has me the least bit apprehensive about pushing all my chips in on the Vinny E6 side of things, there's been a lot, and I mean a lot, over the last 30 years of the quote unquote UFC curse in one form or another. And pretty much all of them have been busted 3 ways from Sunday. The Buffer Knuckle curse got broken a million fucking times. Even the Drake curse has gone back and forth. That dipshit has lost millions and 1 millions on his fucking stupidity. But there is one curse, at least as of right now, in the UFC that has maintained its consistency. And it was actually proven last weekend. And it's the reason why I'm nervous about this weekend. And that's the Matt Schnell curse. Because both Matthias Nicolau and Vinny Siggs put Matt Schnell the fuck out cold in their shot against him and looked great doing it. And then got in their next outing. And I don't want to see that happen to Vinny Siggs. I would so much rather see him go down to Rio and ruin Alex Pants' little fucking parade. I would so much rather see that. But man, that Schnell curse might be real. Just saying. Just saying. That being said, though, this is the end of round 4. And with close scoring, I will reveal at this point, we have a tie. So we're going to round 5. If you've been following the show for any amount of time, you know that when we go to a round 5, it has nothing to do with the card that we're talking about here. And this is no exception. We're going to take it an extra step further today, though, because we generally on this show try and avoid rumors, at least until they're confirmed. And today we're throwing that out the fucking window. For round 5, in the past 24 hours alone, I personally have seen 3 different credible sources say that the UFC has all intentions at UFC 303 International Fight Week with Conor McGregor to introduce the 165-pound weight class as the co-main event under Conor McGregor's main. This is something that a lot of people have been asking for a long fucking time. Yes, it will mean they will have to move 170 to 175, but that will balance things out all the way along the fucking board. 55, 65, 75, 85, 205, 265. It makes everything that much cleaner and gives another option for the guys who can't quite make 55 feasible and are too small to go up to 70, and vice versa. So, if we get the actual potential debut, which it seems like we genuinely might now, of the 165-pound weight class to be inaugurally debuted on the co-main event of that Conor McGregor International Fight Week. My question, gentlemen, who could realistically step in 2 months and fight for the first ever 165-pound weight belt? Christian, you went first this time. Golf tee, you can take this one first.
You know, first and foremost, I'm gonna address this. 165. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. As much as I love the idea of it, I would love to see those fucking weight classes even out. Because you got 145, 155 to 170. You got a 15-pound gap there. So yeah, making a 165 would be great. Push it up to 175, then to 185. Then you have a 20-pound gap between 185 and 205. And 205 to 265, you have a 60-pound gap. At this point, we need to add fucking cruiserweights and all these other fucking weight classes to make up those. So there's 10-pound increments. How many belts do we have floating around? Me? I say the more the merrier, because that means they can bring in additional fucking fighters from that are good in other areas, or those weird in-between guys that fight at fucking heavyweight, but only weigh 235, 240, you know? But all right. Anyhow. I mean, what do we got here? So let's start fucking current champs, right? Leon Edwards sitting at 170. Not gonna make that cut. Makhachev sitting at lightweight. It's a possibility. He might want to run with 2 titles because he can't drop down to 145. There's no fucking way. He's too goddamn big. He wouldn't make it. Could I see fucking Bilal Muhammad dropping down to become that? Yeah. Because, well, he's always complaining about not getting a title shot, and he does get fucked 6 ways from Sunday on that. And even though I don't have to like the guy, I can say, yeah, he's getting fucked 6 ways from Sunday on fucking title shots a lot. You could see somebody like Colby, because, you know, they love to push the fucking needle with people like Colby dropping down. I'm more inclined to say we're going to see somebody coming up. A la Dustin. Well, this can't be Dustin Poirier because he's got a fight coming up with fucking Islam. Could in theory we see a two fucking weight class jump? Max Holloway coming off the BMF fucking fight. He didn't take hardly any damage in that fight. Yeah, his leg was a little rough because apparently Justin Gaethje kicks like a fucking mule. But right now, Max Holloway can call his fucking shot after that fight. Like last fucking week alone, we saw like 2 or 3 guys, 2 or 3 fights where they're pointing in the last fucking 10, 30 seconds. They're doing the Max Holloway now. What did Max Holloway start? We're finishing this in the last 10 seconds of the fucking fight. We saw it 2 or 3 times last week. So yeah, he'd call a shot. If I'm guessing, it's going to be people coming up, not fucking dropping down. Well, because a lot of your guys that are fighting at 170, they're already walking around close to 200 fucking pounds or more. I mean, look at fucking Colby. I bet that motherfucker walks around on the daily around 230 and drops to 170 to fight. As much as I hate the dude, he's fucking stacked like a shithouse. So I don't see any of our 170 guys dropping down to fight 165. Maybe I hate to say, even remotely mention this name, but Ian Machado Gary, he's the only one that looks like he's got enough fucking body to lose because he's not a really thick dude at 170. He's pretty fucking skinny. But right now, best bet, they probably call up Charlie Olives. Put Oliver in there, give him a chance to run a division again because he was a great champion. People fucking love him. Maybe put your fucking Forrest Griffin winner, Beneil Dariush, against him. That would make for a great fucking fight. The only other one I would throw possibly into that because they want to make fucking money. If I'm going to be a money-making man, I'm going to get both number 2 guys. Charlie Olives coming out of the fucking lightweight division and Bilal Muhammad coming out of the fucking welterweight division. have those two fight at 165. You get your number 2 guys. There's a new division formed. Makes sense. Both of them get their fucking title shots again, or first title shot, whatever the fucking case may be. But I think that's about the best that I can come up with on short notice there, because it's just a really fucking odd thing to do unless you're pulling brand new people in.
No, I agree. It's definitely weird, but like I said, I've seen 3 different sources that have provided credible news that we've talked about on this show in the past. In the last 24 hours, I've seen 3 of the sources that I go to repeatedly all say they have heard from UFC insiders that we might be looking at the inaugural 165 coming down in International Fight Week. So I throw it back over to you, Christian. If we do get 165 becoming an actual thing for that Conor McGregor International 303 card, who do you think they put in for that first strap?
Well, just to mention, it was fun how Golf T just went everywhere with that. Like, he went all over the fucking whole UFC roster. They're throwing everything out on how this could go. I've thought about it a little bit because they've been talking about it for months now, right? Like, they hinted at maybe having Connor and Chandler do that shit themselves. But I think Connor kind of wants to go towards those higher weight classes. So if they wound up doing this, right, like we mentioned, they'd make 175. They're not going to keep the 170 and create a 165, right? So this is how I see it. This is simple and easy. Leon doesn't necessarily lose a belt, but he goes up to the 175. You get the Leon and Bilal on this same card, right? They're going to do both of these fights to kind of inaugurate this shit if this actually is true and you got credible sources. Yeah, then it seems like we're fucking catching fire and we've had smoke on this shit for months. You get rumors out of real talks and situations most of the time, and it's not always bullshit, even though you can't believe everything you see on the internet. So I think Leon Bilal 175 and the 165 situation, they've already been talking about it. They've been hyping it up. This would be the biggest fight they could make out of any guys near that welterweight kind of situation. 5 more pounds to cut. And TJ even mentioned one of the names. It'd be pretty easy, in my opinion, for Ian Gary to make the cut. Colby versus Gary. The UFC fucking loves Covington. And Colby's always stayed in fucking shape. In all honesty, the dude could probably fucking cut the other 5 pounds. Maybe wouldn't be the easiest thing for him, but his ass wants the championship. He wants big money fights. And the UFC has literally been dick riders for him for years now. They literally just threw him the bone out of fucking nowhere, and then he had the excuse of the broken foot and everything. They're going to throw him another bone. If they're really going to do this, they're not going to give it to Venom Page yet, right? So it's either Gary versus Shavkat or Gary versus Covington for 165. And you get the fucking boring ass Leon Bilal fight, probably for the 3rd fight down, right? You get Connor Chandler, and they're going to do the 165. You get Colby Gary, or you get Shavkat Gary, and then what would be People's main event is the 175 title. What they might switch that around, but I'd rather see it that order. They always do the fucking heavier weight classes, last kind of thing. But Connor's going to be last, so you already got 170 going to be last. So yeah, fuck, who cares what the order is? It was the boring fight first, and then the more. Either way, Covington Gary or fucking Shavkat Gary, those are fun ass fucking fights. I think the idea is stupid. I've been laughing at it for fucking months. Even though I do think it's kind of exciting. Like, they should add more divisions and weight classes. It's not that fucking outlandishly stupid. I just don't see why the timing is now. You're just trying to fucking make Connor's return more special. That's what makes it even weirder. You didn't fucking make the Connor Chandler fight the inaugural 165er. Yeah. But that's how I see it. Shavkat Gary, Colby Gary, 165, and Bilal Leon, 175. If they're really going to do that shit, which technically get 3 huge fights. They kind of been making International Fight Week similar to 300.
Well, I mean, there's rumors that we're gonna see fucking old men scrapping, so why the fuck not? Do some
Right.
other crazy shit. But I'm of the mindset that it's not real until the fucking bell rings. So all of this is just hearsay.
Right. Yeah. It's all obviously just speculation and guessing at the best of situations in this. But I will say, I have heard two different fights of the three sources. Two of them confirmed one, and one of them has provided the other. The two fights that I have heard that they are saying prospectively could be the inaugural 165. The first one, and only one of the three sources said this one, said that this has all basically just been a smoke show and that they are actually going to make McGregor versus Chandler the inaugural 165. They just announced it at 170 because they technically don't have a 165-pound class right now. That's something they're going to announce night of the fight to try and help build the hype once they're, the fight's rolling and they're into the prelims, and they're going to announce it to try and help build that immediate fucking burst that they want the attention for. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think that's probably the least likely option. But the one that both of the other sources both said that they have heard firsthand is Colby Covington versus Ian Machado Gary. I don't know that I would like that as the best or the first one. I can understand why they would do that. I thought about this when I heard it, and I think I've got a better one. I don't know if it's the best, but if I had that Dana White for a day bullshit going on, I think that given everything in the world happening right now and all the shit getting stirred online, I think for that 165 belt, I would go Patty Pimblett versus Hanato Moicano. I think that would be fun as shit. Both dudes cut a lot of weight to get to 55, but neither one of them are big enough to go to 70. They both talk all the shit that you would need to hype that fucking fight up. And then you put that right behind Connor Chandler. There's your million pay-per-views sold. But I can absolutely see it potentially being that Benny fight as well. I could also see, I thought about Shavkat as well, but Brian Campbell from Morning Combat actually made a good point earlier today. Shavkat walks around at 235 pounds when he's not in camp. I don't know that he physically could cut yes, it's just another 5 pounds, but like we talked about earlier, when you're cutting a significant amount of weight, that extra 5 is a significant amount of weight more at the end than it is at the beginning. And if Shavkat's walking around that fucking dummy thick, he might not be able to make 165. It might really be hard enough for him just to get to 70. But either way, good answers on both sides of the fucking field here. The winner this evening. Oh, there we go. Slowake takes it with the Ian Machado Gary Colby call out. Accurate rumor predictions, we'll call it, but a victory nonetheless. Well played, both of you gentlemen. Nicely done. Always great to have another edition of the Pit for the folks to learn a little bit more about the fights than just what we ripped through in our cans and contenders fun. That being said, though, that is what we have got for this particular episode. But remember, boys and girls, when we wrap things up around here, that is not the end of the fun, because tomorrow morning, and pretty much every Friday morning, that gentleman, over there, and his other half kick off their podcast, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over on Spreaker.com. Links to their socials and their Spreaker account to catch the new episodes, as well as their very own channel over on the I'm No Joe Discord, down in the links below.
Appreciate you, brother. The fun never fucking stops. Once you get back to the best day of the week, hump day, fucking brother Golf T always has his show. I mean, sometimes you take a week off, but at the same time, it's normally a weekly thing. About the same time we do this show, 9 fucking 30 Wednesday nights. you hop into the Foggy Fairway on Golf T Vape's YouTube channel. He's got all of his fucking links for all his socials and everything down in the description as well. Make sure you show the brother some love.
Thank you, sir. Now, if you didn't know, other than not getting picks in on time, the meter does other things as well. In fact, the meter does many things. If you go down below, Linktree / the meter does many things, or Linktree / I'm no Joe, will take you to all of the many things that the meter does do, other than not get his picks in on time. Man, for those of you who didn't catch that, go back and watch the replay. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. So, like we mentioned, we've got the Tapology up and running. I was sick, but I wanted to make sure that Vinny wasn't stepping on his dick from the get-go here. I wanted to give him a leg up and give him the benefit of the doubt, give him a chance this time to fight for it. And, since I did so well last time and I came so close to smacking Donna around in the Spring Grand Prix, I wanted to give myself a little bit of a challenge and starting a deficit. No, I'm just fucking around. I was sick as shit. I literally slept through all the fucking fights. I didn't see any of them last weekend. It was fucking rough. I barely made it through the show, but we did make it through the show. We made it through another show. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you like what we get up to around here, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've got your notifications turned on. Give us a thumbs up if you really like it. Share an episode with a friend. We'd appreciate it. The other side of that coin, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what are you doing this deep into a podcast you didn't enjoy? Give us a thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode. Thank you again to everybody who tuned in, whether you're catching this live most Thursday nights over on youtube.com/@I'mNoJoe, or you're listening the week after the live broadcast over on anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe through your podcast consumption platform of choice. Fuck you, Spotify. Either way, we appreciate you just the same, but that is all we've got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, remember, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.